Hello and welcome to the Tanya Augusta Alchemy Community. I'm Tanya Augusta, your alchemy and transformation coach. Well, so good to have you here again today. Today, I am talking to you about simplifying and healing through the Blue Heron 9 Tenets of Wellness. So, I have the first four for you today. We're going to do a part one and part two for this one again. I really hope that my intention is that in this video, you will end up coming away with ideas on how to really thrive in life and come away with new ideas that can empower you to heal, to feel well, and to really be a balanced and happy and peaceful individual. So, the first tenet that I have is on intention and mindfulness. And really, intention is at the base of really everything that we do that is something, I mean, it can be, right? And it is something that I encourage us to each work towards doing to create something really great in our lives. So, when we enter relationships, when we are engaging in eating, when we are going about any important decision, of course, we want to have those intentions set out. But yeah, again, just even those mundane daily tasks can be it can be such a great practice to have awareness and intention with each of the things that we're doing, with our movements. It makes it so much easier to end up having things just fall into alignment in our life, and also to avoid accidents or mistakes. And of course, those things will come up as well. So, mindfulness is a part of this, and I could also perhaps put meditation in with this, but mindfulness can be done as we are doing different tasks. It doesn't have to be as we're doing nothing. I believe there are also meditations that can be done while we're doing other things, like walking meditations, for example. And I love to do those myself. And again, the idea is really just having some kind of mindfulness, some kind of maybe one pointed focus in that. So for me, when I'm doing a walking meditation, I'm really focused on the sounds that I'm hearing or the sights that I'm seeing. And it's typically the flowers, the trees, listening to the birds, all of the natural sounds around me. And that's when I really feel like I am doing that mindfulness. And we can have mindfulness, of course, as we are engaging in conversation and when we're around other people and before we speak to others as well. So we can really think about if there's something we want to say and how we want to say it. And of course, speaking, thoughtfully back to another person to make sure that they know of our intentions and know these things that we want to be clear. And so then the last part of this would be just the fact that we are always wanting to have this mindfulness and these intentions to have awareness. And that awareness helps us to guard against the mind and the ego. And the mind likes to think it's in charge. The ego likes to think it's always right and in charge. But really, as I'm always teaching in my Amma and my yoga practice, we want to stay in our heart. So we really want to be focused on not staying in the head, in the mind, in that ego space, but always coming from heart. And so, in order to do that, we constantly need to have this awareness practice. And that's where this intentionality and this mindfulness comes in. So that way we can go, oh, okay, I'm starting to go down my negative trajectory thought path that is my conditioning, whether that's worry, whether that's fear, whatever our go to emotion is. Even if it's this excessive joy, this hyper um, feeling like we're always having to chase this high, right? That could be also an imbalance. And of course, these all apply to the different organ systems. And I talk about this in some other videos of mine, but for now, I just want to say that again, we would just want to have that connection to the heart always, and making sure that we're coming from love and not from fear, which again is a lot of that mind chatter. And so just having awareness of, okay, that's a thought, and I can just dismiss it. It's okay that, I had some negativity or that fear come up or whatever that is. It's part of the human experience, and just really being gentle with ourselves and letting those roll through us. So this is the first tenet, is on intention and mindfulness. For the second tenet, it is on clean foods. And of course, I talk about this all the time with my clients if you worked with me personally, but I really want to share that, my path into all of this holistic healing started because my body was reacting to foods that are really not foods, right? Like a donut. And we've all grown up with at least, being exposed to some of these things. And some of us are more sensitive than others, and I had definitely a lot more of a sensitive body, and became more in tune and aware of that sensitivity as I grew older. And so that has happened to possibly you and to many of my clients, right? So at one point, maybe we could eat anything, and then it's like, oh, wow, I mean, I got cleaner and cleaner and cleaner, right? And still be very sensitive to certain things. So I think my point in all of this is that there are so many foods out there that aren't real foods. And not only that, but those foods have a chemical process in our body as we eat them, that can create mood imbalances, that can create pain to go off in the body. And it is something that is often overlooked. It is something that I see commonly, and people often don't even attribute that, okay, they just ate pizza and now they're sick. I mean, there's some very obvious correlations for me as somebody who does this day in and day out. But, this is just something to, again, have awareness about, that our food is our medicine, and that there are so many things out there that can be detrimental. And so it's often not that we're crazy, or that we're, whatever that emotion is, that we're a terrible person. We may feel like this guilt or this depression or this anxiety, all these different emotions, right, that come about in our life from these imbalances with eating. And of course, there's always other things with the foods. There's these emotional components, but the food is really so important. And so it just comes back to eating clean, and that would be eating a lot of fresh fruits, fresh vegetables. You can, of course, cook those, they don't have to be raw. And then also, those healthy grains. Of course, I recommend a lot of gluten free for most people, and definitely non GMO and organic when possible. So those are things that is really going to make a difference on your path in healing and staying out of pain and feeling well. So the third tenet is the mindful movement. And of course, our bodies are made to move. And it's important for us to always be moving throughout our day. It's so easy for many of us to sit at the desk, and of course, bodies aren't built to sit at desks. And so, if that is you, of course, I recommend a standing desk where you can move up and down, as well as finding just times when you can, of course, walk around the office, the home, your neighborhood, hopefully, getting out and away. And so I'm always going to be talking about mindful movement rather than exercise. I know there's a lot of negative connotation around the word exercise, but really, I want you to find activities that are joyful for you, whatever that may be. I also think that walking is very underrated, and it is so good at moving the lymph, which helps move the toxins out of the body. And it's something that is available any time of day to us, and it is free. So I definitely encourage people to do walking. Of course, I talk about this a lot. I'm sure you've heard it before, but again, it is something that we can do for even 10, 20 minutes, and that can really make a difference. And I think the last 2 points would be that, yeah, we don't always have to do For example, a yoga class that is 60 minutes. Now, we might like to. I definitely enjoy that. However, some days we might have to say, I really only have time for a 20 or 30-minute set, or maybe I'm only going to really be able to do 10 minutes before I go to bed today. And that's okay, because at least we're still doing something, right? So we want to just keep making realistic goals, setting something up that is going to be doable for us, finding a time of day that works, and definitely just encourage you to not always have really high expectations, especially if you're not always able to make and meet those. And then the last thing would be to be very open-minded to different things. So sometimes people will say, oh, I, don't want anything to do with yoga. I'm not flexible. But there are so many different kinds of yoga. For example, I teach breathwork yoga, and for most of the poses, we don't need to be flexible. Now, there are some that we can practice uh, that that is part of it, that we can gain some flexibility, but there's a lot more to helping emotionally and mentally balance the body in this breathwork yoga form. And of course, there's all these gentle yoga forms out there, right? So there's a lot of different classes and things out there to explore. It's always good to, keep an open mind that even if it isn't the right season for you to step into a specific activity now, it could be later on in life. So, and then the last thing I want to talk about today is the fourth tenet. And then next week, we will be talking about the fifth through the ninth. But the fourth tenet is on being in nature and just spending time out there. I really talk about earthing and grounding a lot. That's putting your hands, your feet on the earth, actually touching, soil, plants, whatever it may be. So if it's really cold, putting your hands on a tree. But when you can, especially if you are struggling emotionally, going out and being barefoot is so amazing. And that is really helping regulate the nervous system. Putting your hands in the soil. That's why so many people really enjoy gardening and, touching plants, is because it is so soothing, so healing, and it is something, again, that is accessible to anyone that, even if you live in an apartment, you can have little planter boxes or little, potted gardens. So that is something to consider as well. But of course, getting out in some common area and walking around in parks with bare feet is really a wonderful thing. I just encourage everybody to go outside every day, at least spend 5 minutes, get some fresh air, go outside first thing in the morning, go outside on your lunch break, after dinner. Try to do that at least once or twice a day, hopefully. That's just something you can, again, work up to. And like I said, at the beginning of this is about kind of really simplifying. And so I, again, love to walk because then that's part of my nature time. And I do those mindfulness walks. So then I get this mindfulness in, I get this nature time, I get some movement activity in. So it's kind of a win-win. That's just definitely an encouragement I have for you on that. I would love to hear what you've learned today that you are going to take away with you. If there was something really applicable, if it helped you, let me know in the comments below. And thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being here. Thank you, as always, for your presence. And I also have that free protection and grounding video. And go ahead and click on that link below for that. This grounding and protection is for all of you people that are my sensitives. Most people that follow me are, and we need to figure out how to protect our energies from others, and even the people that we love. It's a great practice to do every day. And so this meditation will also clear the chakras, but help you to learn this technique so that you can also not be taking on other people's energies and feel unbalanced and wonder what is going on, especially you younger people, because this is something that we struggle with when we're younger typically. And we learn it better and better as we get older, hopefully. Sometimes we forget and then we need reminders. So that's why I'm reminding you. All right. Well, thank you again and have a wonderful week. I will see you next week with the part 2 of the Blue Heron 9 tenets to simplify and heal. Have a wonderful time.